Hello and welcome to the Dodgy Reg Podcast. Dodgy Reg is an imagined friend of mine with a somewhat paranoid outlook on the world. I've been putting together these stories for quite a few years now, and what follows is the first self-titled episode. Hope you enjoy it. Actually, I think this room may well be bugged, says Dodgy Reg, scratching his unruly beard before resuming the construction of a twig-thin Old Holborn roll-up. This doesn't surprise me. In Reg's mind, there is no doubt that it was the CIA who assassinated John F. Kennedy and that the moonwalk was a Hollywood fake. Oh, give it a rest, man. Why on earth would anyone want to bug my living room? On earth? I get a pointed but momentary stare as he lights up with a battered old Ronson, then a brief whiff of lighter fuel before he breathes out a pungent cloud of rolly smoke. You're not thinking outside the box, my friend. ETs may well walk amongst us, Richard, and if they do, mark my words, they'll have connections in the highest of places. I throw up my hands. Reg, I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. Let's just stick with you explaining to me why anyone would go to all the effort of bugging my living room. I mean, what would be the point? You've been on marches. You've associated yourself with one or two radical causes in your time. You're on the records. GCHQ, they've got your name, your details, your photo. He gestures with the roll-up throughout this speech, rhythmically prodding the air as if running through bullet points in a presentation. I recline in my armchair, feeling somewhat smug. I've heard this sort of guff from Reg on more occasions than I can remember. He's a sweet enough guy in many ways, providing you can get him off this topic. That was years ago, Reg. I had hair then. There's no resemblance to the bald old git I have, unfortunately, become. He leans towards me. His stare this time is intense and prolonged. I'm already beginning to think that a brief, "Let's not go there, eh, Reg?" would have been my best response. I've probably only got myself to blame for this onslaught. But you use the internet. Photos on Facebook, yeah? They can update your image files, no problem. And then there's the mobile. Weren't you listening when Edward Snowden told us all what was going on? Okay, take your point. But I don't have any extremist connections. Don't think I ever have had. So why should they have any interest in me whatsoever? He's tapping ash into his empty coffee mug. I realise I've neglected to provide an ashtray. Oh well, it'll rinse. He's wearing a thick, lined check shirt and ridiculously skin-tight jeans, and there's not a lot of hygiene goes on below those clothes. One of the laces on his trainers is rainbow-coloured, the other black. I'm not saying you're top priority, Rich, he says. I'm not saying there's a guy somewhere with a pair of earphones listening in right at this moment. What they have is computers to do the monitoring. That's how they do this stuff en masse. All you have to do is to use a few keywords in an email or a phone call or even sitting here in this room. Computer picks them up and your rating goes up a notch. Few more, a notch or two more. Eventually, yeah, someone is listening. All right, the network stuff, I can see that. But how exactly do they get a bug into my living room. He snaps right back. Ah, but didn't you tell me you had BT connecting a few weeks back? Were you watching the engineer every minute? Did you know exactly what he was doing? Actually, Reg, her name's Heather, and she was a real sweetheart. She might not even know she's doing it, but that's just one way. You leave your windows open in summer when it's hot, don't you? I nod. Right, so you're not in the room. You've gone upstairs for a pee or something. Drone flies in through your window, pops a little device under your coffee table, flies out again before you've even pulled the flash. Job done. That, mate, is pure and utter paranoia. I get the intent to stare one more time. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. It's an old line, but it suits him well to hang on to it. Eventually, I nudge him off topic. A mutual pal we're both concerned about. Some dubious dealings by the local council. I enjoy talking with him about stuff like that. He's knowledgeable. He's a friend. Another coffee, another roll-up, and he's on his way. I open the window to clear the whiff of old Holborn, muttering to myself in the process. Drones. Bloody hell. What next? I get to thinking about a film I saw years ago in which Gene Hackman plays a bugging device technician. They get together for conventions, these buggers, displaying and selling the latest devices, seminars on technique, all the business. The Hackman character gets involved in some complex plot threads, conscience tweaked, concerned that his own work will result in a murder. At some point, he realises that he himself is being bugged. The film ends with him frantically demolishing his own apartment in a desperate search for the device. And technology has moved on a long way since that movie was made. I look at the coffee table. It's piled up with books, notebooks, magazines, and perched at the edge are coffee cups. The idea is completely ridiculous. Me, bugged. I remove everything from the surface of the coffee table, pick it up, turn it over, and have a long and careful look. Just in case. Next time on the Dodgy Reg Podcast, Reg gets sniffy about some roses, and the roses get right up Richard's nose.